What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of StoryHive On Location, Vancouver with Beats, Eats, and
more.
Big shout outs to TELUS STORYHIVE for powering this episode. I am your host, Cazi, joined by guest co-host
Humuzza.
And we're very excited for today's episode. We have AJ Megaman, a Vancouver, Surrey-based dancer, educator known internationally for his precision animation, popping, and funk styles.
With over 15 years dedicated to the craft, he has trained and mentored dancers who have gone on to perform on platforms such as America's Got Talent, Canada's Got Talent, and co-founded crews like Funkanometry and Gigabots.
He's also the creator of Reality Check, a multi-season online training program where he works with dancers worldwide, focusing on animation concepts, musicality, character work, battle strategy, and freestyle development.
Alongside his dance career, AJ is currently studying to become a doctor at the American University of Anguilla. His mission is to merge movement, medicine, and mentorship into a unified practice of uplifting others.
Y'all, welcome AJ Megaman.
Well, I feel, thank you. Y'all, make me feel good, man.
How you feeling?
I feel good. I'm like, whoa, okay, I did a lot. I did a lot.
Feels nice to hear that, huh?
Yeah.
Well, AJ, we want you to take us back to the beginning. When did dance first enter your life, and what hooked you enough to keep going?
Dance. So, dance first came into my life it was in my family. So I would say my older brothers, they always danced. We used to dance at home, Christmas parties, and Michael Jackson was a big one. So everyone wanted to do the backslide, and we'd all try to do it here. And then I always wanted to be looked up with them because they were all older than me and they're all close in age. And I was the youngest one, so it's like, no, you don't need to dance. So I'd have to work hard to be accepted. And then they would have a dance battle and smoke me. I remember the exact day, too, that I got smoked. It was October 30th, 2006, right here against my brother Diaz. And my other brother Jetho said, oh, you can beat him. He can't backflip. That's your trump card, you know. And then I did a backflip, and then he did a backflip and a back handspring into a split. And I was like, wow. I was like, I'm cooked. That was it. I'm cooked. And so it's always been there. You know, I would say probably as early as 2000. That's when I can remember me I want to move. Like my mom would dance in the kitchen, dad would dance in the kitchen. They have gospels on. So yeah.
It's funny because we are related, so I remember coming to your house and seeing you guys dance, and I was always like, that looks really cool. So you mentioned how your brothers, kind of influenced you in the beginning of your journey. So was there a person or something that shaped the way you moved early on?
That's a good question. How I moved early on. This is pre-popping and hip-hop, by the way. This is pre-popping hip-hop and crump. I would say it was probably my brother Diaz, because I just wanted to be better than him, because he'd always say, oh, you'll never be better than me, this and that. So I was like, bet, I'm going to show you. So him, just to show that I'm there in the same conversation, I was 9 to 11, trying this. And then the dance battle happened when I was 14. But yeah, I would say my brother Diaz.
So then how did popping, animation, all of that first become introduced to you?
This is popping and animation came differently than how hip hop came and crump. But popping is probably the most wildest story you guys will ever hear.
This is what we're here for, AJ.
Okay. It was my math tutor. So
What?
I'm not even joking you. I had a math tutor. He is a legend in Vancouver. His name is Jaewon Suh.
Okay.
And he was in a dance crew, Funk Master Flex and Black Mamba crew. This is the same crew that Denny created. Denny Chang, he's a pioneer in Vancouver. And I was not good in math in the 9th grade. And I asked my mom, I said, Mom, I need a math tutor. And Mom was like, my son cares about school. We will get him a math tutor.
Aww.
And it's funny how I always say everything happens for a reason, because there were many tutors. My mom used to work at the Riverview Hospital as a social worker before it closed down, and she could get a tutor for anybody in her family. But on her way to work, it was a cold night and she slipped and she hit her head. And when she hit her head, she got a concussion. And so she had to go somewhere else. And where she went, she saw a tutoring service saying, find math tutors here. She pulled that down. That by chance was J1 So if my mom did not slip, I would have never been popping.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that happened, and he taught me. It was here in this room. Actually, no, here. We did math over there in the other room, and I thought he was the best dancer on earth. I told all my friends, there's no one better than him. He's better than Michael Jackson. He is the world's best, because Michael, at that time, I was like,
Peak.
He's peak. And
How old were you at this time?
I was 15 when popping came into the world. And then, he asked me, like, first class, he's a Korean guy, he came in like a nice suit and tie. You know, I'm a kid trying to be thugnificent, wannabe. I was I'm privileged to live here in this home. My parents work hard, and I'm trying to be a thug, wearing sag in my pants, hat tilted sideways. And he asked me, he was like, "So what do you do?" I said, "Oh, I play soccer. I go to Fraser High Secondary School." And he told me about him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a professional dancer." And I laughed at him. I really laughed at him, because in my mind, there was only black people who could dance. That's who I knew. I was like, black people, if you ain't from Africa or the hood, you don't dance.
You didn't meet a Filipino yet.
I had not met a Filipino yet. I hadn't met a Filipino yet. And so seeing him, I was like, you're a dancer? I judged him hard. I looked at him and said, up, down, suit and tie. I'm like, you're a businessman. Yeah. And he said, no, I'm a dancer. Yeah. And I said, I'm a dancer, because, I've been with my family and stuff. And then he said, oh, you a dancer? Show me what you got. So I went upstairs, got my best outfit on, and I remember I was seeing some wave move I tried, and I was doing all the crank dats and, all of those moves. And then eventually, then he puts on a song I'll never forget. It was called Freestyler, Don't Stop the Rock. And he just starts doing this 1, 2, and then he pulls out like this electric wave and he starts popping. And I was like, you're the best dancer on earth. I was like, that was the first time I had ever seen popping. And I was like, there is no one better than you. No one. You are crazy. Next day, I went to school. I told my friends, I said, I met the best dancer. You got to come over and see this guy. They came, sat at the door. And I was like, J1 was like, who are these people? And I'm like, they want to see you dance. And he slammed the door. And he said, you ain't gonna do no dancing until you get your math in order. That's what happened. And so I was like, okay, fine.
So you can't be a dancer and a businessman.
Yes.
Because he meant business.
Yes, there you go. He meant business. And so, he taught me. And then when he wouldn't teach me dance until he felt I was at a certain level in my math. So he'd be like, all right, you're at a good level. Okay, let's do 15 minutes here. He'd show me like just the electric boogaloo moves and this and that. And he took me to a battle. Oh, man, I'll never forget. There was only 2 black people at that battle. And I was like, what? It was just, everyone there was Filipino or Asian. That's where I saw the first scene. And everyone looked at me, and they looked at me like, he must know how to dance. And I was the worst one there. Oh, my God. I was terrible. I will never forget the lot. There's footage of it. Yeah. I think
there's footage of it.
There's
we
footage.
I
think it was called Make It Funky Make It Funky Volume 2 or something.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, there was footage, and I was wearing like a black hat, a red Bruce Lee shirt with blue jeans and Converse, and I got the worst part of the song. And that's when I met other dancers from Vancouver, like Henry Ma, Denny, Abe Chen, Jameson. I met Chris Bonus at that jam.
Whoa.
Like that was in like 2008. Yeah, it was 2008.
So looking back to the beginning of your journey, were there moments or things that prepared you or, created the person that you are today?
Yes. Resilience, hard work, never giving up 100%. Because I'll never forget I lost how many battles back then? Like every battle we did, I lost. Yeah, 100%. So you got
all of them.
I lost all of them.
Man.
I lost every single battle. Like, because when you're battling people who can fly, basically, like them breakers, y'all can fly. Like, it's not fair at this point. I losing so many times, being the worst in my team. Like, I was for sure the worst. Getting laughed at that first battle. In 08, Make It Funky, I think volume 2 or 3, and people looking at you as like, he's black, he must know how to dance, and then you just sucked. You just really sucked, and then people laugh at you. That was like, I had a lot of my, and then losing to my brother so many times, and him saying, you'll never be better than me. It was all like, okay, I am going to prove all you guys wrong. There's no, like, I will keep working. Yeah, it's even, I still have that mentality now. It's very competitive just because of how I've been put down. And then as I got older, that competitive kind of shifted into a different drive. But it did definitely shape me that you have to work hard so that the little guy, you are no longer the little guy, you are looked up. As like, and even with my students that I've taught, like I always chose the person that wasn't as famous and helped develop them so that, because they were the little guy, like which I was, so yeah.
I love that you use that moment to really build yourself up instead of letting what everybody else said to you tear you down.
Yeah.
And then who knows, you wouldn't even be sitting here now with everything you've accomplished.
Yeah.
If you listen to those negative voices,
100%.
So what was the name of that first original group?
God's Children.
God's
GC.
Children, right. And how did you get the name Megaman?
Oh, man. So Megaman came, a lot of people think it comes from the video game. That came from soccer. And so, because I played pro soccer, semi-pro, pro soccer, however you look at it. And there's a move called the nutmeg where the ball would go through your legs. And I played on the wing, and I just loved to embarrass people with that move. Like, it's one of those, like, it's equivalent to a 5-hole in hockey, where you put the puck through someone's leg. And I was very fast, and people always used to say, use your speed, that's all you have. And I was like, no, I have more than that. So it drove me to learn skill. And I learned one move influenced by a guy named Ronaldinho Gaúcho. Shout out to him, one of the greatest greatest players of all time. Like, he's crazy. And so he had a move called the Elastico, and I used to do that and put it through your legs. And I would do that more than trying to score. Like, so I had speed and skill, and then people would always say, like, teams figured out my tactic was like, yo, close your legs when you're defending it. He's going to meg you. And then people would say, yo, watch out. Like, he always megs people. He's going to nut Megaman. Watch out. He's going to Megaman. Watch out. He is the Megaman. And that's how the name came. Yeah. Yeah.
So the character Megaman, like the fighter, had nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it. Nothing. Yeah.
So it's funny hearing you speak about, your early journeys and early battles, because I've seen some of these videos on YouTube. But when I searched up Megaman, a lot of these videos are at a battle called Battle Zone.
Yes.
Which is your event.
Yes.
So what are the origins of Battle Zone, and why did it need to be birthed?
Oh, so I'm glad you guys are good. You guys are good. Those are nice. So Battle Zone started because I went to, I'm going to go, this won't be a short tangent. 2004, I went to Uganda for 1 year to do schooling. I loved it there so much that I went in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. I went there every summer. And then in 2009, so I think, around 2005, my dad had built a school called Rentutu Christian School. And in 2009, when I came back, I asked my dad, they don't have a cafeteria. These kids are just eating, and flies are just landing on their food. And my dad would say, that's the life in Uganda. Like, I was like, yeah, but they need a building to have, like, I'm a young 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid at this time. They need to have, a place to eat, and Dad said, well, we don't have money. And then I was like, well, where do you get your money? You get people who donate, and we had to work for it. And my dad was like, you go build this project. He just said it nonchalant. You go build I'm like, how? And he's like, what does grandma always do? She comes here and she collects bottles, and she goes and collects all these cans and takes it to the bottle depot, and she goes and gets her money and takes and builds a house in Uganda. Go and collect bottles. I was like, got it. I'm going to collect bottles. And I did a whole bottle drive. And I'm thinking, this bottle drive is going to build the cafeteria, call it a day. And I went all over Fleetwood, Guildford, Newton. My dad took the car, they helped me. We clicked, our whole backyard was just packed with bottles. And I remember we raised about, I think, $2,000 to $3,000 worth of cans of bottles. And I was like, nice. Oh, wow. This money, this was 2008. And then I said in 2009, we took that money and we laid the foundation. I thought it was going to be cafeteria done, but all it was we just laid the foundation. So we dug ground and we just put the bricks all in the outline of the building. And I was like, that was so hard work. I don't want to ever do that again. That took so long in the cold, collecting bottles. So I was like, what's a faster way of making money to build a cafeteria? And I was like, well, there's dance battles that happen. Like, how can that be so hard? You know? And so we threw a battle called Battle Zone, Vancouver Battle Zone Volume 1. And it was on Commercial Drive at Drive Dance Studio, which isn't open anymore. And it was Janine Georgiev's studio. I think it's a tattoo parlor now. And yeah, we had the first Battle Zone. It was popping, hip hop, popping, hip hop, breaking. And
what year was this again?
2010, August 7th. I remember the exact
Dude, your memory's crazy.
Yeah. And Arthur was one of the judges for Battle Zone 1, Floor Storm. And I'll never forget, Stu was in the final versus a Deadly Venom's crew from Montreal. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had Mikey Disco was the hip hop judge. Boogie Frantic was the popping judge. What? Yeah, it was the first one. So we brought them out, and they came. I shout out to Mikey Disco because he came basically for nothing. Yeah. I told him, this is what we're doing. He's like, all right, I'm going to help your cause. I'm going to get my friend Boogie Frantic. We're going to come up to Canada.
That's the Seattle homie, right? Mikey Disco?
Mikey Disco's from the Bay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
yes,
he's from the Bay. Right. He's part of Soul Sector crew. It was a hip hop crew in the 80s. He's a pioneer. He's a Filipino guy too, you know. And so I started to realize how dumb Filipino are crazy. And so we did that. We raised I think $2,500. And at that time, I was like, I don't know if I could do this again. This is a lot. And we had just formed Heavy Hittaz crew too. So I was like, okay, this is a lot. I need a break. And then we did it again in 2011. We did in 2012. We did in 2013. And then we finished the cafeteria building in 2013. And then I was ready to be done with Battle Zone. I'm like, all right, what's next? And then I did an Nanaimo Battle Zone in Contingent. And we started doing for the hurricane at the time, Hurricane Katrina. We started doing it, building this event for the fly fishery community in Vancouver Island. And then eventually I was like, I'm done. Like, what more are we doing it for? Like, the money is supposed to go somewhere else. And so Vancouver Battle Zone stopped in 2015 until 2020. But Nanaimo kept going because people were like, no, we need it for the community. And I was like, I was doing it for people who, like, we're privileged in this community, you know. So they convinced me, and I just kept going with it. And then Nanaimo kept going. We brought Vancouver Battle Zone back, and now it's changed from volunteering fundraiser. It's all for the youth, yes, and it's more for the community. But it started because of cafeteria.
Who were your early teachers or mentors that shaped not just how you dance, but how you teach and show up for your students?
How I teach?
Yeah.
So who shaped me was definitely Megan Alandi, Bop and Andre, J1, so a guy named Frequency. I wouldn't say he was a teacher of mine, but he was more of an influencer frequency. He's from Montreal. But who shaped how I taught my students were mostly soccer coaches. Yeah, so it was the soccer coaches because my soccer coaches, there was a guy named Spiro Pegios, a Greek man. He was incredible. He was very hard on me, but I was the only one at the time who represented Canada playing on a local club team because he was like, we can prove people wrong. You don't have to play. Because the Whitecaps wanted me, but they wanted me to switch schools. But my dad did not want me to switch schools. So I was with them for a time period. They were like, okay, you don't have to switch schools, but come here. And then eventually my dad said, nope, we're staying with Surrey. And because we stayed with Surrey, Spiro, people would say, you're never going to make the national team because you're not playing with the Whitecaps anymore. But Spiro would say, no, we're going to prove them wrong. And so he would push me tenfold, like to make sure I'd make it. And I did. And I would say soccer coach. And then there was a coach that I really look up to. His name is Josep Guardiola. He was the coach for Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and he's the coach of Manchester City currently. And just reading his book and seeing how he coaches his players, and he knows how to make people good. Like he finds the hidden gems and develops them into superstars. I was like, you could take that and put it into dance. And he's not just like, you go to soccer practice, call it a day. Like he would hang out with his athletes and like they would talk soccer till 3 a.m. And I really, really resonated that. So yeah, those ones shaped how I teach, but the skill, Megan too, with the patience, Dre with being what to teach and when to teach it, and being very like, okay, don't give out so much information. Liz Vyson, I have to give her a huge shout out. She was my hip hop teacher too. She's the one who helped me build the hip hop Bible. She was like, we were just driving one day. She gave me like 60 hip hop party moves. It says, learn them all. And so she was a big influence too. But yeah, so I would say, but mostly the soccer coaches.
So you have taught a lot of people in this scene. I feel like 99% of the dancers that I'm around have learned from you. And you've had a lot of students that have gone on to do really cool things. So as a teacher, how does it feel to see your students grow from, a kid doing the first class to, being on TV shows, winning international battles, being on TV and movies and all that stuff?
It's crazy because I think it actually makes me emotional thinking about it because I get to a point, thank you, by the way, that where my students, I feel like it was a time chapter closed for me because where I wanted to reach in dance, like my goals, I never got to reach there. People know me, I always make the joke, oh, I'm the best loser, I'm the Luigi, I'm second place always, and that's how I made my name. Trying to get on television. I remember like when I took my kids down to LA for NBC World of Dance, then the producers would see me dance and they say, you need to audition. But when I would audition, I wouldn't make it. I'm like, why would you tell me to do it? It's surreal because I feel like I was like, wow. So like, God, this is where I couldn't make it there, but you've blessed me with all my coaches. They didn't have this opportunity in the 90s and 80s when they were dancing. They taught it to me. I tried to reach there, but my calling was no. That's not for you. It's for you to teach the next generation to get there. And so I get very, very, very happy. Like so happy when I see like, wow, this dancer here is now representing Red Bull and this dancer is traveling around the world. And it's like they're literally doing what I taught them. It really is a very emotional, it makes me very happy, especially those who listen and did it right and then they succeed. I'm just like, yes, and I'm always their biggest fans.
So shout out to you as a teacher.
Thank you.
Transitioning a little bit, at this present day, you are in med school to become a doctor, which, first of all, congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
What sparked the transition for you to go from dancer to pursuing medicine, and why do you feel like now is the right time to do that?
2010. 2010 was when it started. In this room right here again.
Shout out this
room right here.
Man.
My mom is a very, very spiritual, God-fearing woman. And when I was 18, I remember I said to my mom, I just got a scholarship to go play soccer in Halifax at a Cape Breton University. But I told my mom, I don't know what I want to do. Like, yeah, there's soccer, but like, what do I want to do? So, Mom, you've got, I was so young, and I was like, you pray for me. You got that magic power. Pray for me, Mom. And like, what do you think, like, what should my calling be? And that's like a second thing, like first math, now this, yay, you know? And so she brought the aunties and uncles all over, and they had a prayer group here for like 8-9 hours in this room, and they prayed, and one of the aunties was like, this boy's going to be a doctor. You know, he has a big brain. He's going to be a doctor, you know? And I looked at that. I was like, I'm not going to be a doctor. Pish posh applesauce. There's no way. I thought the prayer was going to be, he's going to be a pro soccer. Like, that's what, because soccer that was it. And so, but then when you start seeing that, I remember coming back here and going to Vancouver Island University, and you're trying to say, okay, let me continue to pursue soccer, and then you lose the scholarship you got, and then you go and try, let me maybe go and become a teacher. And then for some reason you fail all your courses in that subject. And then, let me try this. And someone plagiarizes your work, and everything that I wanted to do, it was not lining up. It wasn't working. And I remember going to Uganda in 2013. So that's 2010 to 2013, just four years around there. And I was like, had a dream, and the dream was so vivid, and the dream said, no matter what you do, you cannot avoid this calling of being a physician. That was the dream I had. And I was like, I think when I get back, I think I'm going to try medicine. They were like, come on, AJ, you're not going to do medicine. Like, no, maybe go be a DJ or be a professional dancer. Come on, this dance thing is working. Go radio host. And it really discouraged me, you know? And so I was like, okay, let me keep it in secret. I would just tell people, I'm going to do medicine. Who knows? I don't know when. And I was like, okay, where do I start? Okay, I need to get I remember physics. I had to get my physics mark up from high school, so I had to take adult learning. But anytime when it came into the medical field, the doors were opening. So anything else I tried, they didn't open, but with medicine, they kept opening. And I was like, whoa, okay, so this is happening. As I kept going into it, I had this fire of like, I'm going to do this. Like, again, it goes back to those people said, don't do this. And I was like, all right, bet. Just because you said that, that's all I needed. I'm going to keep going. And then when COVID happened, the world shut down, and I took a good 4 to 6 months of just studying for the MCAT. I remember I applied to every school in Canada, and I got shut down. And that was because of my grades from 2010 to 2013-14. They weren't strong, so my accumulated GPA was just not it. But as I went to 2017-18, my GPA was the 3.2s, 3.4s, and I was like, nice, you know, but at the end of the day, it was still a low GPA. So I stopped applying, and I was just like, I was starting to feel defeated. And then I started saying, let me change my approach. And the approach was, instead of applying for the schools, call the schools, tell them your story, and ask them, is it worth it to apply? So that was the first thing. Instead of just your number. So I would say, this is who I am. I was a bad student in my early years, I'm an improving student, I'm a professional dancer, played pro soccer. When they heard my story, all the schools wanted me in. Yeah.
Wow.
Every single school I applied to was like, we need that type of... This guy's lived 3 careers.
Yeah.
So when you see in medicine, unfortunately, during the 90s and the early 2000s, a lot of physicians was all about, you have your grades and that is it. Yeah. There's no people skills. You are a professional dancer and a professional soccer player and you did this and you traveled the world, we need this person. So when I applied to all the schools in America and in Poland and Ireland and the Caribbean, it literally just came down to what's the cheapest school, because it's med school. It's very expensive, you know. Medicine, I just want to say the same that I've been explaining about how I was for dance, people laughing at me and, oh, you will never be this and that, is the exact same thing that happened in medicine. Verbatim. So obviously what struck me, I was like, all right, bet. So the same thing happened in medicine. I was like, okay, you're laughing at me. I'm too old to go and do medicine. Okay, cool. We'll see. I don't have your 4.0 GPAs. Okay, we'll see. You know, so
I love this story,
it was
AJ.
just driving,
This is really an incredible story, and I'm glad you were able to share it with us here on this platform.
So now, if you can envision like 15, 20 years into the future, what's your vision for medicine, and how do you imagine the worlds of dance, movement, and healing conversion in the future?
I have this plan literally in my brains before I even started medicine. This is, if anyone tries to steal this, I will find
We got it,
okay? 4K. I have this. This is December 12th, 2025. This was said here. Do not try to take this. I'm going to build, in 15, 20 years from now, I will have a one-stop shop medical facility. This will be for people of color, by people of color, but everyone is welcome. Meaning there will be a place where you can get a family physician, you can get your dentistry done, you can get your mental health done. If you need surgery, you go to the 3rd floor. If you need to go to the pharmacy, you go to the 2nd floor. If you need to go and work out and exercise, because that is mental health, that's on the 6th floor. If you need this, all of it is going to be in one building, and it's the people of color will be working there. I will be the emergency or surgeon working at that place, and I will hire people. And the people of color who cannot find doctors, you will have a doctor there. The people who are Caucasian, if you want a doctor, you will find a doctor there. Yeah, my one-stop clinic will be in every single place that I live. So we've already started the first one with my colleagues. We have the Dream Team Clinic. We have just built.
Shout outs to the Dream Team.
So we've just built that, and eventually when we're doctors, that is going to expand. And on top of that, the funding that Reality Check makes through the dance sector and the medical sector is going to be used to fund dance events here in Canada, so that Canadians who want to throw dance events, they don't have to go through the loops and this and that. I'll be like, here's $100,000. I have all these ideas and it will happen, and because I know it will happen. And if I was able to do this now, why can't I do this next part, you know? And so those are just some of the ideas that I'll have. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing your dreams. Me and Humuzza came up with some really fun rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So no tangents. We're just going to go rapid fire. And just the first thing, don't overthink it. Whatever comes to your head. Favorite shoes to dance in?
Jordan 4s.
Food you crave after a battle?
Breakfast.
Okay. If you had to change your dance name, what would it be?
Dr. Bot.
Dr. Bob!
Yeah.
I'm going to start calling you that now.
Dr. Bot.
Theme song when you enter a room?
Theme song that it would play forever? We the Light, Red Tip. Yeah, We the Light by Red Tip. Good choice. That's my job.
Which Super Smash Bros. Character do you identify with the most?
Captain Falcon.
What? I thought you were going to say Megaman.
Captain Falcon. Megaman, that's
Okay,
just... yeah, Captain Falcon for sure.
Teleportation or super strength?
Teleportation.
One word you're trying to grow into?
One word I'm trying to go into? forgiving of myself. If that's forgiveness of myself.
That's a good one. Biggest pet peeve in battles?
No eye contact. No eye contact.
I agree. Me personally, is like when that bottle spins too long. It's like, come on. Or that even has to come out, you know? Last question. Who's the best in Heavy Hittaz?
The best heavy is who I think right now? Humuzza.
Yeah, AJ, thank you so much for spending time and sharing us your stories. Like, so inspirational and so many things I didn't know about you. I really feel like we're building this archive of Vancouver street dance history, and that now it just like it actually lives. This might be 112 interview that we've had over the course of like 4 seasons. I can't even keep track. But yeah, I also want to give a big shout out to Humuzza for joining me today as my first ever guest co-host. And hopefully this won't be the last moment. You did amazing. You're great. You held it down.
Shout out to you guys though. Like you guys are amazing. And you who just got your degree.
Thank you. I'm a graduate.
There you go.
Yeah, and big shout out to everyone who's tuned into the live stream, who's going to watch the replay, to Sean and Jam and Cameron, who's here with us today, helping out with the live stream. We appreciate y'all. Again, if any of y'all are a creative in Van City, music, dance, art, food, etc., and you have a story to share, please fill out. There's going to be a QR code on the edited version of this video on TELUS STORYHIVE. Fill out the form and let us know your story. And who knows, maybe you could be in this hot seat with us. Appreciate y'all once again. This has been TELUS STORYHIVE on location in Vancouver with Beats, Eats,
and more.